So, good afternoon, everybody. And maybe I should start to introduce myself. My name is Peter Mozelius, and I work for the Stockholm University, the Department of Computer and System Science. So mostly I'm a teacher in computer and system sciences, but during the last 5-6 years, I've been many times to Sri Lanka and sometimes to India to look at all interesting things that happens here. And I think maybe I will repeat a lot of things that was said during the morning sessions here about the importance of reliable internet, the importance of development in rural areas, and so on. But maybe this could be an illustration to what many people brought up this morning. And this is a case study about, as it says here, cross-ethnic collaboration at the Sri Lankan telecenter, or maybe at 2 different Sri Lankan telecenters, but I will have the main focus on one of them. And I think maybe the first thing that I can illustrate here is that my co-author, Niranya Megamana, we had planned that we should meet here and discuss about our research and future plans and like this. But I think you could see it as an illustration that it's not any big money involved in the telecenter movement in Sri Lanka. Actually, they're working on very low budget, but they do a real good job. So he hadn't the opportunity to come here, but he is the co-author for this paper. And I'm glad to have another colleague and Sri Lankan friend here in the panel, so she will correct me when I go wrong here on Sri Lankan details. But it's very much about which are the barriers for effective e-learning in rural regions. And I think Sri Lanka has very much the same situation as you have here in India, that the big cities are doing extremely good for the moment. It's a very fast development, but they was talking about the internal digital divide, and the same thing is the fact in Sri Lanka, that you will face another reality when you come out in rural areas. So if we take a little look at Sri Lanka, it's well, India is so huge, but Sri Lanka is like 65,000 square kilometers and 21 million inhabitants. And what I will focus on here is that the majority of Sinhalese speaking people, which are 74%, and then the 2 different Tamil groups. And also when at this telecenter where different groups collaborate. And maybe I can just, on the map here, show you that somewhere down here is the place for the 2 telecenters. So we are in the very middle of Sri Lanka, up in what they call the hill country, which is something different between the western regions around Colombo, where the IT business is doing very well. So a little bit about the main languages in Sri Lanka. That maybe this is a good thing. That Sinhala or Sinhalese is spoken by the Buddhists, and if I should correct myself, also by the Christians. And that the Tamil language is spoken in different groups, which I will explain on the next slide. But I think what is very much the discussion now in Sri Lanka is about language harmony. So that English is the common language, and in the same way as you have English here at your universities, but also in the new policy for Sri Lanka that the kids now in primary school, they should learn the mother tongue, if it's Sinhalese, and Tamil, the other language, and also English. So it's very impressive also how it's improving when it comes to the language situation, which I think is a very good idea now when Sri Lanka has left the state of a civil war, which was the fact during 30 years. So, okay, about the Tamil-speaking groups then. You have Jaffna Tamils, that is the people that lives up in the very north of Sri Lanka, where the former war zones are. And what I will have been looking at in this study, the tea estate Tamils, that Tamil people that came to Sri Lanka from India to work in the tea estates. But then you also have Colombo Tamils, and you have the Tamil-speaking Muslims, which is quite a lot. So the objective of this study is to discuss which factors are crucial in the management of a telecenter in a rural, multicultural and multilingual area. What will be the main problems, if there are any? So in Sri Lanka then, in the beginning of this century, they started the eSri Lanka initiative, which is an umbrella construction for a lot of other projects. I don't have the time here to go into details of all of them, so I will focus on this, the Nenasala project. It's a Sinhalese word that means the hall of knowledge. And Nenasala is what they in the morning here call a telecenter. And the objectives here, strengthening the democratic processes, advancement of the peace process, and maybe what I've been looking more at here, how to improve the quality of life of the people in rural areas, and how to try to enhance the social and economic development. So there's two telecenters that I have visited twice each, and here in Haldemulla, up in hill country, I was there for the first time in 2008, and it's still the same ownership with a Buddhist temple that is the owner, and that the manager is Tamil, who also is the teacher here. And what it makes it interesting is that you have a 50-50 percentage between Tamils and Sinhalese in the people that comes and uses the services. Maybe sometimes it could be 50-48, but it's very close to half-half. And on the picture here you see the priest, and you see my co-author Niranjan, and I think that the 4 other people are Tamils, all of them. The other telecenter is the neighbor telecenter, some 30-40 kilometers away, owned and managed by 2 disabled Tamil brothers. So if this session should be for sharing best practices, I think the success story comes in my next research paper, where I will look at inclusion and how these disabled brothers runs a telecenter. But there is an important difference between these telecenters, which I will present a bit later. But one interesting thing, that there's nearly no collaboration between the telecenters. This is the manager, the Tamil manager for the Haldemulla telecenter. And now he came with me, just because to show me the way. Where is this telecenter? But otherwise, so between these Tamil groups, very little collaboration. So the collaboration between Sinhalese and Tamils has actually been better. Now disappeared. Wait.
While he's figuring out the technology, I forgot to mention.
Who is Kramer?
I forgot to mention that.
There it comes. So, okay, if I go to the outcomes of the study, that in these T-estate regions, the general income is very low, real low. And not that I compare with Sweden. I compare with urban areas in Sri Lanka. So what was discussed earlier here about sustainability is really a problem. And it's even reinforced by the fact that just because it's in a Buddhist temple, no commercial activities in the Buddhist temple. So how to make business if commercial activities are not allowed? So there has been problems with the sustainability, but the telecenter has survived. And I think that the manager, with a very low salary, that he has stayed there for, he's been there for 5 years. But what will happen during the coming 5 years, because he is a very good teacher, he has very good knowledge in languages, he has very good knowledge in computer science. What are his career opportunities, and will he stay? But now comes the thing that was also been discussed here earlier. I will repeat most of the things from the morning here. But internet access is a big issue and very crucial. So when I was here the first time in 2008, they had internet access, but the situation now is that they don't have. So that has been bad. The number of visitors has gone down. And if you compare with a neighbor telecenter that is only 35 kilometers away. But they have a big, not a big, but they have a city as a neighbor, so they have actually fiber fast broadband connectivity. So if we should look at what was the question that was asked on the first slide, that what are the big barriers that if I take the next thing, that we didn't find here in our visits, and we made quite a lot of interviews, that the cross-ethnic collaboration is not a problem. They do the work in a very nice way. Of course, they sometimes have some discussions, but it's not the problem. The problem is really the internet access. So, something about implications for the target population in the visited areas. That these telecenter services, they are very appreciated. We met quite a lot of the course participants, and it's very many students that are in the phase of sitting for their A-level exam or O-level exam. And in this area where the ordinary schools doesn't use, they use computer very sparsely. So it's very popular for younger students, teenagers, but it's also kids from 7, 8, 9 years that sometimes walk like 3-4 kilometers to come to the telecenter. And it's also adults that come to these courses.
You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I see. And I think this is one of the nice things that you have supported this 50-50 mix, that Sinhalese and Tamil people really work together and are good friends. And that the teaching sessions are often conducted in a multilingual and very professional manner. And that this also can be a way to support the peace process, I think. So I think a lot of positive findings, but the big problem, which could be what makes or breaks a telecenter, is reliable access to internet. So challenges and opportunities then for the last minute here. To improve the conditions for the telecenter staff, they need to have better salaries, better career opportunities, and also to have further training in computer science and pedagogy and things. And fast and reliable internet connection in rural regions. And in March this year, they made an evaluation of the internet services in Sri Lanka. And what you read in the official documentation is very often a lot higher bandwidth than what you get when you actually are out in the rural areas. And that a lot of things are depending on the internet access, so it would definitely increase the income and the sustainability of the telecenters, because many people come there and ask for that. They want to look up things on the internet, and many of the things that were presented here as e-government are run by the internet. That's a fact. And online repositories for sharing learning objects, which I think is a presentation of its own, but with internet access, that you, as an example, that the Tamil-speaking people in central Sri Lanka could share content with Tamil people in India, in Tamil Nadu. And that, I think, is about my time. So thank you for your attention.